Welcome to the Pelican Brief with your host, David Tapman.
Hello and welcome to the Pelican Brief. I am your host, David Tapman. We have the pleasure of having a House of Representatives candidate from House District 68, Dixon McMakin, in studio with us today. Hello, Dixon. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Glad to be here, David.
It's great. Well, thank you so much for offering yourself for public service. Obviously, it's a pretty big deal, right? It takes a lot of time. But for our audience that may not know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, Dixon McMakin, born and raised in Baton Rouge, started at Jefferson Baptist, then St. Aloysius Catholic High School, went to LSU undergrad, got my degree there. Then I stayed at LSU for 4 more years and got my JD and MBA at LSU. Then I started working here locally as a financial advisor for Aloysius Wealth Management, where every single day I work with small business owners, people that work for small businesses. I'm an insurance broker with Aloysius Benefit Solutions and a lawyer with the McMakin Law Firm. I do estate work, so not a trial lawyer, very important distinction there. Help people with their wills, power of attorneys, trusts, and things like that. And I think the coolest job people know that I have is I'm an announcer, not only for Catholic High, but also for LSU athletics. If you go to some of those sports, you'll hear my voice announcing to the crowds, and a really cool thing that I get to do and share my gift of announcing.
Well, that's awesome. I've heard your voice before because we have, my high school and your high school have a little bit of a rivalry going, John Curtis, but I listened to it because I really like the fact that both of those schools broadcast their football games for people who can't go. And I think that's amazing. And obviously Catholic is an incredible school. So I enjoy pulling for them. And when they're not playing Curtis, I'm pulling for them. So you seem busy. You got a lot going on, huh?
You know, when you grow up, great parents, great sister, they teach you to maintain a lifestyle to give back and always be involved in the community. So some people view it as busy, and I just view it as a normal life and able to give back and share my talents.
Well, I don't have the same pedigree that you have, but I'm busy too. But I like that fact. And my daughter's an attorney, so some people don't like attorneys. I love attorneys because my daughter is one. So tell us a little bit about District 68. Give us, we've got a statewide audience, so people might not know. It's in Baton Rouge, obviously, but where in Baton Rouge is it?
So if you're in Baton Rouge, I want you to think about the interstate highway system. You see the Dalrymple exit, Acadian exit, College exit, Essen, I-10, I-12, Blue Bonnet exit, Segan exit, and PQ. Those are all in District 68. Our northern border is Jefferson Highway to the Garden District. And then the southern district is Bayou de Planche, over to the railroad, and then down Perkins a little bit out to PQ. We have some of the best neighborhoods, I think, in the state. I'll argue anybody that District 68 is the best food district in the entire state of Louisiana. If you ever come to District 60, I'll be glad to tour you around and show you all of our great restaurants and places to go visit, and just a great place that I grew up and now honored to hopefully represent them in the legislature.
Yeah, I think District 68 is one of the top districts in the state, and I've invested there, so I'm with you. So I really, really like District 68. And when I was on the school board, about half of my school board district was in 68. So I really enjoyed working with the people in that district a great deal. So, a guy like you's got so much good stuff going on, an attorney, a financial advisor, an announcer. What made you want to run for office?
Yeah, so last year when Scott McKnight announced that he would not be running, so this is currently held by Representative Scott McKnight, another Baton Rouge guy born and raised in Baton Rouge, and he was going to run for state office. At the time, they had not done redistricting yet. And so got to look at the district, was excited for Scott and glad to support him for our next state treasurer. Then they redrew the district, and they added in South Downs, Ruzon, Pollard, and they took away some of the area out towards Highland Road. And when they did that, the opportunity to represent people that you grew up with, families that you knew. I mean, my pediatrician, lives in District 68, a guy that helped raise me, people I've gone to church with my whole life, gone to school with. And when the opportunity came to represent those people that are very like-minded to me, a business guy, Republican businessman, and to represent them and be the voice for them at the Capitol was something I couldn't pass up.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I was in district. I was in your district, and then I was reapportioned out, and so now I'm in Ms. Freiberg's
Sorry
district.
to see
So
you go.
yeah, me too. I actually don't know how I got in there in the first place, but because we're pretty far out on that little peninsula that went out that way. But it is kind of funny because right across the street is the district that is currently held by Rick Edmonds. So there's a lot of districts that come together in that little area, which yours reaches out pretty far to that area. So we like to do a little deal here on the show where we sort of pretend for a second, and this is a good pretend, right? So what we do is we say, okay, last night you were elected to House District 68. And we've got to pretend because it takes a little time from election to actually taking office. But let's just pretend that, tomorrow is your first day. What are the things that you want to do as a state representative for the people of District 68 and for the people of Louisiana?
So I'm pillar-based. One thing about me, people know you have the business mind, math mind, data mind, but you have to be pillar-based, I think. So my 4 pillars are efficiency, effectiveness, accountability, and transparency. So any bill that I write or produce, and anytime someone's in front of me on the committee, I'm going to ask every single person, every single time, how does this bill make our state or the laws more efficient, more effective? And how are we at the same time holding our state and the people that the taxpayers pay for more accountable and more transparent? So I'll tell you kind of where that started was last year's session. I helped Scott McKnight write a bill, House Bill 364, to hold the universities more accountable through some of their disciplinary matters that we saw. We got that one passed through both chambers, signed by the governor. So I was really glad to kind of already have a bill that I worked on recently. Just last year, helped him write that one and get it through the legislative process, which is not the same process you think of legislative when you're in high schools or elementary schools, even student governments and in college, or I'd say local municipalities. It's very different when you do it at the Capitol, and I'm very glad that I helped him do that. So using that financial background and staying on that task, I'll be a transparent guy. So some of the bills I'll write would be about the transparency of state governments, about public records requests. As a lawyer, I have held accountability of LSU, the state government mentee entities here in town around the state with public records. So improving those laws to let people know that you work for us. We pay the taxes that provide while you're able to work, and we're going to hold you accountable because of that. With my financial backing, having a Series 7 license, educational savings accounts will be something that's very big for me. They've tried to pass it recently. Representative Beau Boyer and Representative DeVilliers, I think both co-sponsored bills in the past. So working with them to do that. Another thing that I'm big on is the Capital Region delegation. I think in the past few years, we've seen a loss of power. Head over to New Orleans, head over to Acadiana, and the Capital Region delegation has lost a little bit of their power, a little bit of that mustard they had back in the day. So getting that group back together and coming up with an agenda for the Capital Region delegation will be crucial. One of those pieces to me, which will be crucial, is our juvenile jail system we have here. If you talk to anybody right now, our juvenile jail system is lacking. About 50 beds are currently there. They can only use, I believe, 35, 37 of them. How about that? So if a juvenile gets in trouble right now, the judge has to make a call. Do I put a new one in and let someone out, or what do I do with them? So I think as the Capital Regional delegation, we need to come together and say, all right, we're going to find the funding, and we're going to try to improve that part of our metro region. Is very important. Yeah. Well, and of course, that's a hot issue right now in the news, dealing with the juveniles being located at Angola. Now they've been removed, and I think maybe North Louisiana, is that where they're headed? So they're headed up to a facility in North Louisiana, but you're right. And a couple of my guests that have come on here have talked about the fact that we really need to build the right kind of facilities to be able to do what we need to do. But look, all of those things are really important. And it sounds to me like you passed your first bill already. You know how when you get so when new legislators get elected on their first bill, when it comes to the floor, they tease them. You're going to be able to bypass that, right? You'll just say, I already passed my first bill. It was Scott McKnight's bill had a big part of it, but I look forward to passing some early on in my career. No, it's exciting, and I do applaud you for offering yourself for public service, because like you said, you didn't say, but you outlined what you do, and you really are a busy person. And my dad always said, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person because they'll get it done. So I think that's great.
tell me, are there any other things that you'd like to share with our audience about you, your campaign, or anything else? Like, for example, tell us how you plan to win the race.
Yeah, so I'll share, traveling around the district right now, walking doors, having meetings, and I've even had events outside of the district as well, because I don't think every answer can come just from around where you are. So we've traveled the state as well, and pretty proud of the donor list that we've collected from all over the state and all over District 68. 3 key issues are easily found. And think of it as a 3-pronged stool: crime, education, and jobs. And those are just the legs of the stool. Then you got to have a top, or what you're going to sit on, and that has come to be insurance. Mm-hmm. And so for my campaign, we've tried to put forth practical solutions, not just talk about the elephant in the room of those issues, but actually dig down deep. So on crime, in Louisiana, we need to get back to our roots of holding criminals accountable. And what that means is when you commit a crime, we're going to keep you in jail. And we're going to know that it's a deterrent to you to go into jail. I've heard from law enforcement that criminals will go into jail, they'll get out the next week or so, maybe in the next day, and they'll get back to their communities, and they'll say, hey, how are you back already? And they'll say, don't worry about it. We can't have criminals back on the streets telling their friends, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no accountability, right? You have to have accountability.
0 accountability. Another issue will be the bond issue. So right now, as far as my studies show, you get a $100,000 bond, you have to put up 10% of that. We need to look into the 10% rule, because right now, even though a judge might say, I want to put a serious bond on you, it doesn't take much for you to get out. So there's another issue we got to affect on crime. On education, of course, school choice is big for me. The money should follow the child. Mm-hmm. We should give every student, every young man, every young woman in District 68 and around the state of Louisiana the opportunity to go to the best school that they can attend to. We no longer can say you're going to be forced to go to a failing public school just because you live in that area. So money following the child, and of course, like I said, with the educational savings accounts as well. In financial practice, we do HSAs all the time. So we're just changing one of the letters to ESA, which should be a pretty efficient way to do that. And then, of course, with the jobs front, the regulations that we see here in Louisiana, our complex tax code, tax collection system as well. Let's go find those regulations and let's go decrease them or get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Heard one of the governor candidates talk the other day that it takes more time for you to be registered as a hairdresser than a pilot. I don't know about you, David, but I'd rather my pilot have more hours than a hairdresser. And, of course, the stool on top of those 3 legs is our insurance crisis.
Right.
No matter where it is, I think I'm a pretty good driver. I've had one incident in my, 17 years of driving, 15, 17 years of driving. My insurance rate has gone up every single year.
Yeah.
People can't afford their homeowners. Businesses aren't coming here. So our new insurance commissioner, I was glad to support him from the beginning, Tim Temple. I think he's going to do a great job. And one thing he's going to do, which we can take to all levels of government, is say, if in Louisiana, we're the only state that does something this way, is it beneficial to our people? Does it make us more efficient, more effective? And he'll tell you most of the times the answer is going to be no.
Right.
So let's get away from doing those things that we're the only state that does that, and let's take that to all forms of government. If we're the only state that does something a certain way, is it really helping the people of District 68 in Louisiana? Most of the times the answer is going to say, it's not. Let's get rid of it. Let's repeal that. And let's get our state moving.
Yeah. Well, look, I think you're right on target with all the polling that I'm seeing with regard to the public and how they feel about things. The insurance crisis is real. It's now become a nationwide crisis, but now it's a nationwide crisis that we lead the nation in, right? And there doesn't seem to be any, quick answers to that. I do like Tim, and I think he's going to do a great job. We've had some great conversations. He certainly has the background to be able to do it, but he's going to need the legislative will to get the things done. And education, I mean, we already have 529 plans, right? So all we're really talking about is bringing that down to elementary and secondary education, mm-hmm. right? So I think that bill probably would have passed under a different governor.
Yep.
And so I think you'll see a lot more of that. And look, I served on the school board for many years. I am all about, I call it parental choice, because obviously the kids don't make the decisions, but a lot of times the parents are fighting for those children, and they want them to be in an educational environment where they can succeed, because education is the great equalizer. If you have a great education, your chances of being successful in this world become exponentially better. And it's such an important thing.
Yeah, and seeing that recently, I've been involved with the Safe BR group that's here in town. I think I haven't missed one of their meetings. and they'll talk about those kids that don't have the education. You can't read and write by an early educational point, then you're setting yourself on a path of failure that's going to lead most likely to crime and early death.
Oh.
And so if we can get that early education going, have that opportunity for the parents to send their child somewhere. Look, the blueprint's out there. We don't have to go invent anything in here in Louisiana. Arkansas just passed it. Florida has been doing it for a while. Georgia's been doing it for a while. We're 49th and 50th for a reason. We've been trying to say, oh, we have the solutions here. How we've done it has always worked. Well, now it's time with this new legislature to say, okay, let's admit to ourselves that it has not been working.
Yeah.
Let's go see what they're doing elsewhere. Let's bring it to Louisiana. Then let's increase our children's opportunities.
And nothing against my friends in Mississippi, because I do have a bunch of friends in Mississippi, and I have some friends in Mississippi who listen to this show. But it's pretty bad that Mississippi's beating us at things, right? And if you want to look at a great shining example in the South, Alabama's doing great things with their universities, with their funding in insurance. We're now following their model on the Build Back Stronger program with fortified roofs and fortified homes. And so, if you were to go try to buy a condominium on the Florida coast and a couple hundred yards down, you buy a condominium on the Alabama coast, you're going to see a pretty big difference in insurance rates because of what Alabama has done. So there are some models out there that I think we can follow. So, but those are all the things that I think really matter to voters, really all across the state. I mean, you had mentioned you watched the gubernatorial vote. That's what people care about. I think the insurance issue is so pervasive because everyone has insurance of some kind. I heard a really sad story about, and I'm not going to name them, but it's a state representative who lives in a very southern part of Louisiana coastal area where people were actually giving the keys to their home back to the bank because they couldn't afford the note and the insurance, where the insurance was becoming as expensive as the note. And that's just extraordinary to me. And obviously at the federal level, we have really big issues with risk rating 2.0, the flood insurance. And so I do know our congressional delegation's working hard on that, but it's important that the state and feds work together. And so having people in the legislature who'll work with the congressional delegation to try to get those things done, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're at a crossroads right now in Louisiana. What an opportunity we have to no longer be 49th and 50th. We're most likely 99.9 going to have a governor that's Republican.
Yeah.
We're going to have supermajority Republicans in the House and Senate. And so for the last however many years and decades, we've always had this excuse. Oh, we couldn't get it done this year or that year because of X. Maybe that was a Democrat speaker, Democrat president, Democrat governor. We've never had one unity, one voice. And now we have an opportunity to send some bold leaders up there that say, okay, we're not going to stick to the way it was in the past. We're going to go for these bold, positive changes. And that's what people of District 68 are telling me they want. And they're excited for the opportunity to vote for me for their state rep to bring that to the Capitol.
Well, I'll tell you, my son, I have 3 children, and everybody who watches this or listens to this show knows that. But my youngest son now works in Virginia, and he left the state for a good job. And that's just sad. He's a mechanical engineer. LSU, we paid, LSU paid, the taxpayers paid to educate him as a mechanical engineer, and he's in Newport News, Virginia, building aircraft carriers for the United States Navy. We need to have the kind of industry here where people like him can work. But the real sad part of the story is there are 7 other LSU engineering graduates who are over there working. And so we're spending tax dollars educating young people who all want to be here, but they just don't have the jobs.
Yeah, so I'm one of 8 cousins that went to LSU. 2 of us are left in Louisiana. And so I practically know what that's like, that my cousins live away now in different states, and I don't think there's any way to get them back.
Right.
But it's looking back on it now and say, what could we have done previously to try to keep them here? Some states offer programs where if you buy a house after college, they'll kind of give you a little bit of a discount to keep here. There's one option. Is it something people are talking about with TOPS, that if you use TOPS, but then we don't receive any benefit of you staying here, should there maybe be a payback system? I don't know. That's a lot of things that we're talking about right now. But at the end of the day, attraction is providing them somewhere with those 3 stools that I talked about, legs of the stool, somewhere they can find a job, somewhere they can feel safe, and somewhere where the tax burden is not anything that's overburdensome to them, and where they can send their child to school, a good school that's safe. I've been very blessed by my parents. I give them all the credit of the schools I went to and everything. And It was all private schools besides LSU, but even the law school, in a way, seems private-ish.
Yeah.
But I was very blessed. But for those families that aren't blessed, what are we doing as a state and a community to make sure they all have that opportunity?
I agree, and education is the great equalizer, and your parents raised you, and that's if we do that, our world's a better place, right? And so giving people who may not have the resources the opportunity to do that through education, I think, is really, really critical. So is there anything else you would like to cover with our audience? I know we covered a lot of things, but is there anything you want to talk to our audience about or that you would like to share outside of those questions?
I think I've been very blessed and honored to run for this seat already. The support has been tremendous. I was endorsed by Lobby, our business community. I was endorsed by the Louisiana Committee for the Conservative Majority. I was endorsed by the Freedom Caucus, which is a pro-conservative group. And I think having their backing and their support has been crucial to my success and gets me up every morning when I go wave signs or knock doors and all those parties and functions that you know about, being a former elected official, that you have to do, and the momentum you feel for the opportunity we have in Louisiana to make some lasting positive change and to get some people down at the Capitol that aren't scared, to get their sleeves rolled up and get to work and to be there, be in the arena, put up the fight for Louisiana values, for Baton Rouge values. And I think people see that with me. They know from my previous community service as well, being involved just all over Baton Rouge, but mainly in District 68, that kind of my beliefs and what I think really represents the people of District 68, and excited to get to work for them starting in January when we're sworn in.
Well, good. Well, tell our audience how they get in touch with you.
So everything is DixonMcMakin.com, DixonMcMakin.com. There's the website. On there, you have my email, you have all the information. Don't forget to click that red donate button at the top, as it takes a lot of money to send out flyers, send out mailers, do TV commercials. Any monetary support is crucial, but also on there you can volunteer. We are going to have one of the best game day operations that this state has ever seen. I'm very blessed to have a lot of family that lives in Louisiana, lives in District 68, that are going to be volunteering their time from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. that day. And our game day operation will be something that I think they're going to talk about for a long time, of how many volunteers we already have ready to go and strategic places to be and things to look for and what we're going to do. So if you want to be a part of that and part of what we think will be just a great day and a great operation, sign up at DixonMcMakin.com.
So you're going to get some of those ancient athletes out there to help you?
Yeah, the Baton Rouge Ancient Athletes. So David and I are part of a group of, when you get old and you get over 30, we still compete in some sports here in town and have a good time. And that's back to the group of people you have supporting you.
Yeah.
And when you have a group of men, that's 350 men,
that's
give or take, and
most
of them are married. Let's say 300 are married. So 650 people. Not all live in the district. Most do. Good bit do. And so you're already starting with a voter base right there of 500 people that are excited to vote for you, want to support you. They're telling your friends. I'll share with your community, if you don't mind, that we call it the 7 ways to help. 7 is a big thing of mine. 7 in the Bible means whole and complete. Matthew 7:7 is my favorite passage. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. And if you're not doing those 3 things campaigning, then you're not campaigning.
Right.
So it's 7 ways to help. Number 1, pray. Pray for me. If you've never been through this process, you don't realize the sleepless nights, the early mornings. No lie, last week I had a dream that someone took my magnet off my car. So I went out to my car just to look about 1:30 in the morning. And the dreams have to you. So it's always on your mind. Please pray.
Yeah.
Most importantly after that is number 2, if you live in District 68, select me as your next state rep. I've told everyone this on the campaign trail. You have found nobody, will find no one that works harder than me on anything, and I won't let you down. 3, if you don't live in the district, but you know someone that does, telling them to go vote for me is one of the most important things you can do. 4, head to that website, DixonMcMakin.com, sign up to volunteer. 5, head to the website again and go sign up to get a sign. Even though signs don't vote, they tell people in the community. They show who the business people are that are supporting. They show the neighbors who you're supporting. We have quite the sign game right now. 6, head back to that website again and donate if you'd like to. Then after you've done all those things, you get to number 7, I'm asking for you to pray for me again. I cannot take enough of the prayers right now, especially with we're 26 days away. It'll be here. Votes have already started to happen. Paper ballots are out there. People are already voting. Early voting is 13 days away on September 30th. That'll go for a week. Most people in District 68 vote at the archives. They vote early there. You can also vote downtown at the old courthouse or in Corsi. So go vote. It's an LSU game day. We play Auburn. We don't know what time yet, so don't let the opportunity to go cheer for the Tigers at home waste your chance to get out there and vote in this crucial election.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. I know our audience is delighted to have the chance to meet with you, and I wish you luck both in your campaign and when you are elected, because you'll need more prayers even then. Because it's a tough job. Being in the legislature in Louisiana is a tough job. We have a lot of work to do, and I admire people like you who are out there and willing and ready to do it. So thank you so much.
I'll end with this on that one. Luck we describe as labor under correct knowledge. So we don't believe in true luck. We believe you got to put in the work to get the luck. So I'm looking forward to being LUCK lucky October 14th.
Well, thank you, Dixon. Thank you for being here. You can find our show on all of the major podcasting platforms. You can find us on social media. Our handle is the same on all social media platforms at Pelican Brief 225. You can find us on YouTube at The Pelican Brief 225. You can email us at pelicanbrief225@gmail.com. That's our show for today. And until next time, we are the Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief is an off-script production.